Welcome to the Crypto and Blockchain Talk.
Hello.
Hey.
Guten Tag.
Aloha.
Hola. Shalom.
Hello.
Namaste.
Ni hao.
Privet.
Hello.
Salut. Yassas.
Salve.
Ciao.
Bonjour. Our podcast talks about the latest trends in the worlds of cryptocurrencies and the blockchain.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Crypto and Blockchain Talk. And with me today, I have none other than the most wonderful Rob Levy of HXRO. That's HXRO.io, hero.io. Hello, Rob. How are you?
Hi, Aviva. I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. I think it's going to be a very interesting podcast. We're going to be talking about NFTs, but before we go there, have you seen the news that MicroStrategy has just purchased another $1 billion of Bitcoin, and they now own about 90,000 Bitcoin, as well as Square have invested another $190 million into Bitcoin, and that is obviously on top of their October purchase of $50 million worth of Bitcoin. Have you seen this news?
Have I seen this news? This news is making me all warm and fuzzy inside. I mean, so let's think about MicroStrategy right now. This is a publicly held company in the U.S. that can go and raise $1 billion in a day, pretty much less than a day, to buy Bitcoin. I mean, they're structuring corporate debt that has real demand from the highest net worth individuals, family offices, institutional investors, retail investors, people like you and me. And they just bought $1 billion more Bitcoin at $52,000. This just represents that there's just an enormous pool of capital that's waiting to be tapped for Bitcoin and other digital assets. It's there. And this is the best part. I mean, $52,000, $1 billion, $52,000. You think people like that are going to care if we see some dips to 45, 40, 35? No, they're going to be buying more there.
Well, they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah. This is a repricing of the asset. We're watching it happen before our eyes on the highest institutional level.
Oh, by the way, listeners, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Square only bought $170 million worth of Bitcoin, adding to their expanding position in this crypto space.
Yeah, so it was about 3,300 Bitcoin they bought, and the average price was a little over 51,000. So we're talking about over $1 billion worth by two publicly held companies in the last stretch of days, and don't for a second think that they're the only ones. I mean, yeah.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more in this space in terms of press releases of companies coming out. Matter of fact, should we make a tiny bet right now if Tesla's going to increase their position?
Ooh. I'll tell you what, they're taking heat. They're getting it from all angles. That's the world we live in. The media, anyone can come at you, and they will. But, they've got analysts, they've got investment banks, they got people saying, oh, Tesla's stock is now just tied to Bitcoin. And, you see Bitcoin sell off and Tesla's going to sell off. Well, that's not fully the case, but there is a little truth in it. Part of their treasury, 10%, 12%, is held in Bitcoin. So their long-term bet is that it's going to be a net positive. They're not doing it because they think it's going to be a net negative. So I don't know if Tesla's going to increase their holdings. They might. I mean, Elon Musk, he'll do what he wants. But I think, we're going to see a lot more entrance into that strategy.
We're in a really exciting space, and I know we keep saying that, but it is actually really amazing. It's just so amazing to watch and to be involved in this. It's actually hair-raising.
It is, because the roots of it. You think about an anonymous dev or anonymous dev team creating the foundations of a frame, the framework for pure innovation in financial technology. And they did it. They're anonymous. And now it's here for all of us to use and further evolve. It's so fascinating. It really is.
Well, what's even more fascinating is that NFTs, which have really just started to zip into this market and really take a hold as of late. Now, NFTs, meaning non-fungible tokens, basically the second half of 2020, this is where really NFT sales start to take off. And they increased by 200% to what was then more than $9 million US. So in the last 24 hours, right? So keep that in mind what I just said. So in the second half of 2020, NFTs went up 200% to more than $9 million. So let's just say 9 million just for argument's sake. In the last 24 hours, $60 million US of NFTs were sold.
That's called exponential growth.
That's just crazy. I'm laughing.
Well, it starts at a low level. You talk about $9 million of trade over months. Mm-hmm. And, in any size market, it's a very small number. But you start talking about $60 million of NFTs moving in a day and that's some notional volume.
It's incredible.
I'll go as far as saying NFTs might end up being the biggest onboarding feature for new users or normies into crypto. It very well could be. We might look back and say NFTs really took this whole thing to the next level. We very well might.
Oh, no, I agree. I agree with you. This is the best way for newbies to gain entry into the marketplace. Absolutely agree. And the thing is that what's happening here in many instances is that people are buying things that they hold a value to. Not saying that people, when they buy crypto, they're not buying into something that holds a value, but because an NFT is the purchasing of something like a piece of art, a trading card, it's something unique and something that somebody has almost an attachment to in some cases. It's not purely financial. There's something they like about it. That's why they're investing in it in most cases. I think it's just incredible, really. I agree that this is going to be a massive point for adoption of crypto.
Massive. And a lot of it has to do with, you're seemingly really smart in the outside world. I say outside world, it's like in crypto we're in some loony bin institutional bubble. It kind of feels that way at times. But smart people from the business world, like Mark Cuban, for instance, who's just a serial winner. He's a great businessman. He knows value. He knows how to build things. He knows when to sell things. He's great. He sees the value immediately in this. And now it's it shouldn't surprise us. He's really taking the bull by the horns. He's getting involved. He sees that there is a use case in normal business, that this is a future way of doing business. And more people in all types of businesses are going to see that about NFTs. It's like that next step, that analog to digital move. And there are so many use cases. It's not like crypto doesn't have use cases now, but the bottom line is the main use case for crypto in its first 10 years is probably trading, right? The trading of these tokens is the biggest transaction value use case of crypto. It's the crypto exchanges. It's trading one into another and buying Bitcoin and using your Bitcoin to buy Ethereum and all these other altcoins. But, with NFTs, it's different. Yes, there's a trading component to it, but, everything in life you can buy or sell, there's a value to it, but it's different. There is uniqueness. Each NFT cannot be divided up into smaller units. whereas Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other tokens, they can be divided up into millions and millions of smaller units. There is such blue sky here for the evolution of NFTs. We're only scratching the surface. And people who come from gaming, who come from collectibles, we think about how many collectibles over the years, the coin collectors, trading card collectors. I mean, these generational hobbies, to think that is going to move forward and evolve into the NFT space, it's remarkable. And it's something that's just going to explode here really, really soon. I mean, it's pretty much like you said, exploding before our eyes with exponential volume increases.
We're at such an early stage in this whole NFT timeline. A lot of this stuff, like you're saying, people are trading. They're going to be collectibles, just like if it was like a 1950s Barbie doll or something like that. The stuff that is coming out right now is going to be gaining. I think that's the stuff that's going to have the highest collectible value, because it's not even so much what people are investing in, it's about the timeliness of it. So, for instance, I mean, so many of these NFTs have seen their value skyrocket even in the short space of time, keeping in mind that NFTs were pretty much a nothing until, a couple of months ago, literally. And I mean, I know I'm kind of smashing the timeline a little bit, but crypto is already a new space, even though it's only a little over a dozen years old, if not even, it's probably not even that. But we're talking a collectible in the CryptoPunk series sold for 550 ETH, okay, which is more than $1 million at the time of the sale.
Unbelievable.
It is, but guess what? Another one in the same series sold for 650 ETH,
Yeah.
So, and that's a value of $1.55 million. It's a lot of money for something. Obviously, the person who's investing in that is thinking this is going to go up. I mean, nobody invests in an asset thinking it's going to go down. Okay, so the total market cap, people are already projecting, will be almost $3 billion by the end of 2021. This is what analysts are saying, but I think that's actually too low, considering that the market cap last year for project-based NFTs was 338 for the entire year of 2020, right? So I just think that with everything that's going on in the art space, everything that's going on within the art industry, Christie's, I know, is looking into getting more so into this space. We already know that you just talked about Mark Cuban, the equivalent of the baseball trading cards is now on the blockchain with NBA Top Shot, where people are selling these cards for a lot of money. And basically what the concept is there is that the people who are buying these collector cards, as I'm using air quotes, they're basically buying a shot in time, a video clip of a point in time in a basketball game in the NBA. So in a team, so let's say the Lakers or, I don't even know the name of another team. Give me another team quick.
Chicago Bulls.
Okay, sorry, man.
Michael Jordan.
Okay. So like the Lakers or the Bulls, like these teams, you can go if you're a fan and you can invest in buying a snapshot in time and you own that time then, and that's what you're paying for. That's what the NFT is. Something you can trade it just like a baseball card, or you can just hold on to it for an investment. And again, the art industry, they've really embraced NFTs. They have driven more than $120 million in sales from its conception to the beginning of this year. So, and that whole infrastructure is probably going to be taking off. So I personally think it's going to go a hell of a lot more than 1.3 billion in 2021. I think it's going to do a minimum of 3 billion. If not, I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even be surprised if it did something like 6 billion by the end of this year, especially because of the way that you and I have just been talking about how this is something where newbies into the crypto space can wrap their head around it. They understand a little bit more about what is happening. It's basically purchasing something you like and could trade or collect or save. So it's pretty incredible. The whole idea of NFTs is really nothing new. It started with CryptoKitties, right? And CryptoKitties is arguably the first and most well-known NFT. I think CryptoKitties is more famous for clogging up the Ethereum system than anything else. I mean, that's why I remember people cursing CryptoKitties, going, "Goddamn CryptoKitties, I can't get my Ethereum transaction through." Yeah, you remember?
Yeah, they kind of showed some of the vulnerabilities and how early we really were, that these networks weren't ready for prime time yet.
Yeah.
And, CryptoKitties clogged the whole system.
You have people who are now also getting into the NFT space who you just wouldn't expect, like Lindsay Lohan. She bought a Daft Punk themed NFT for $15,000, and this made the news. I mean, I don't know how people found out about it. I don't know if she tweeted about it. I better find out how she actually did that.
Publicist.
Is it her publicist? Do you know that for sure? Hold on a second.
No. I mean, her hair who types her tweets for her.
Who also bought the NFT, and Lindsay doesn't even know what an NFT is. It's great. You just ruined my whole idea there. Okay, never mind.
Exactly. No, but the bottom line is that sort of spotlight from primetime influencers like that. When the Lindsay Lohans of the world, and, she's not, I guess, as much primetime as she once was, but you start seeing real use cases and real adoption from bigger, more primetime celebrities. Look out. This is going to explode. It really is. And it's also going to point out the great things about blockchain itself. It's the whole trust issue, right? And knowing when something is unique, when it's genuine, not fake. We can verify these things. That's what makes NFTs special. The distinguishing data it has on the blockchain. It's similar to Bitcoin. We can track every movement of every little piece of Bitcoin. Well, we can track the movement of the NFT from its inception. The NFTs can't be divided into smaller units, so it's one item as a whole, and you can track every movement of it. You can have true ownership as an individual. You can trace the file back to the original creator. It's powerful and for so many reasons. And, when it comes to authentication, you don't have to go take it to some specialist or some gemologist or some, I thinking of those episodes of like Pawn Stars where they have to bring in these experts on certain stuff. Yep. Well, it's really easy to do with the blockchain. So that's the best part, is it's bringing the innovation in technology that we're seeing in finance and with blockchain, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you're bringing it to more normie type mainstream items and hobbies and collectibles. And that's the sort of thing that we're really going to raise awareness for, what innovation has been taking place here the last 10, 12 years with blockchain and crypto in general. And I'm scared. I think your number of saying you think 1.2 is low, 3 billion, 4 billion, I think we're going to be surprised to the upside as well, because there's so much opportunity all over the place. You think about ticket sales type of things. There's so much that can be done when it comes to that sort of transactional volume and the amount of items that are out there changing hands. And then how about virtual land, virtual worlds, gaming? I listen to my kids. I've got 3 kids, 3, 5, and 8, and they all play Roblox, and they're all playing a game inside one of the Roblox servers called Adopt Me. And my 3-year-old and 5-year-old, they're trading, a neon llama and a albino parrot with other kids. They're trading all these items in the game. And believe me, it's not going to be long before these kids are actually doing stuff like that on the blockchain, and they're trading unique items, not just items in Roblox.
Shame on you, Rob. I thought you would have easily swiped that iPad from your 3-year-old's hand and said, we're tokenizing this lime llama.
I know. I want to. This is like going on right this second.
Oh,
this
man.
Adopt Me game is taking over my house. It's insane. I mean, and now I'm seeing like older influencer people on YouTube making videos about it. I said to my kids, I'm like, we got to create like some market commentary. I want to know, what makes the parrot more scarce or more valuable than the giraffe? Like, what's going on here? And it's insane. It's crazy. NFTs and gaming, it's just a huge opportunity.
Blockchain is going to revolutionize every single aspect of gaming. And the thing is that there's so many interesting projects out there that are going to be taking this combination of NFTs and gaming. And the funny thing is that when you look at these numbers, and I'm looking at these different press releases that have come out, over the last 24 hours, more than 34,000 people traded basketball-themed cards on Topshop's secondary market, generating more than $46.7 million worth of trade. And just one card with LeBron James on it, it sold for $208,000. I'm not being funny, but what does a Kobe Bryant card get? I mean, if that's what a LeBron James card goes for, what does a Kobe go for? So apparently fake Banksies are entering the NFT art market. This is actually a very interesting aspect, which I really didn't think about. Questions about appropriation and copyright in the NFT sphere, because I guess, this is where we're going to have to ask some questions with some legal people. But what happens if, so the NBA Top Shot is obviously the official one, but what about when NBA Great Shot gets launched and it goes into competition? Because how does that all work?
Well,
so I guess the same advice maybe applies here, that we would actually tell people who are investing regardless in the crypto space, which is do your due diligence, do all of your homework, never just take anything at face value. I mean, what would you have to say about that?
Well, I think bottom line, there's licensing, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to use the NBA, their trademarks, their licensable objects, I think they're going to have a problem. But the good thing is you can track where the actual token was generated, right? Not only on the blockchain, but you can track the creator of it. So it's kind of like when you see a bunch of tokens that you might want to buy on Uniswap, and you have to check that the address is correct, check that this is the right token, because there's multiple tokens with that name. So people are going to have to do their research, do their diligence, and make sure that they are looking at what they think they're looking at. But you bring up a good point. We're going to have to get some legal experts on here to talk about what happens to licensing and trademarks and all of that stuff when it comes to these NFTs. What's going to keep someone from going to Tron or Binance Chain and creating an NFT of, a Michael Jordan slam dunk and selling it for a certain amount of money? Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that, but what I do know is you will be able to prove where it came from, what it is, so you will know if it's authentic NBA Top Shots or authentic NBA cool shots, some knockoff.
Well, the funny thing is that I do believe that, just like in reality, I do think it's going to matter who's issuing. I do think that it's very important that everything is going to be operating just along the lines as the traditional art markets. Provenance is still a very important thing in art, and I would say in the case of many valuable one-off items, you definitely want that provenance, meaning you want to know exactly who issued it, exactly if this is legit or not. And, maybe in this case, the fact that NBA Great Shot would come along, it wouldn't really perhaps mean anything, because people would know it's not the same thing as NBA Top Shot. Or, it's not Christie's selling this artwork, it's Schmisty's. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and of course, the thing about the blockchain, like you already said, is that it's a public, immutable record. You can't change this information in there. It's once it's recorded and it's from a legitimate source and platform, it's gonna be very hard to try to convince somebody it's something that it's not. But still, in saying that, I think with blockchain, there could be some very blurry lines between the real and the fake, and art appropriation and rip-offs, and this is really where I guess it's going to get quite interesting. And you know how it works in the crypto space. The minute that legitimate, amazing projects who are very well executed come into play, right after that are the a-holes who are looking for a way to take advantage of something good and possibly do something that's not 100% and not so, street legal and legit. So I guess you have to use the same kind of mindset as if you're going to invest in crypto or any other kind of financial product. You have to do a lot of research and make sure you know what you are buying.
It is an additional risk. I mean, at least when you go on a Binance and you buy some shitcoin, you're pretty sure that it's the shitcoin you think it is, not that it's some fake version of the shitcoin.
Absolutely.
I mean, so, yeah, no, one thing's for sure. It seems like, one group of professionals that are going to make money off this are going to be the lawyers, because there's going to be plenty of work for them when it comes to the licensing and all the stuff that's going to go into art and genuine art versus fake art. And there's a lot of questions that are going to have to get worked out in these first versions.
Well, one comment I would make on that is that it's going to be very hard to sue a blockchain that's over in North Korea. It depends on who you're suing. But it also, in terms of if you're a legit blockchain, they'll maybe be looking into somehow some kind of super verification. I don't know. I got to think about this a little more. So do you see these as tomorrow's Bitcoins, Ethereums, and Polkadots? Do you see these as the next greatest companies to come along, or do you think that they're not going to have that kind of prominence in terms of the market cap and in terms of their popularity? Where do you see the companies that are right now in this NFT space settling in time?
Oh, I think that the leaders in this space can develop such extraordinary network value. Yeah, I think there's going to be some big winners. Look, if you can have success out of the gate, it means you're doing something right. So you can continue to build upon those successes and network effects. But I do think that significant value is going to be created. It's going to be created in a different way. I mean, it's not only going to be about trading volume, and daily active volume of items that are traded. I feel like volume is in the crypto exchange markets is different. If we're expecting to see, $100 billion of volume a day in just NFTs, I don't know. I think we have to judge the volume differently. I wouldn't expect to see that type of activity. Like if we're going to go dollar for dollar with like all the crypto exchanges out there, I don't think that's a great comparison. I think a lot of this is like one-off transactions. I think that a lot of NFT buying and selling, it's on a different time horizon. I don't think we're going to be seeing high-frequency NFT trades. We might. That would be very good for network transactional volume, but I think it's different altogether. I do think, though, that the same reflexivity effects are present. And as more of these NFT assets are created, and as these NFT assets trade for more value, then more investors and hobbyists, they see more value being created. They see number going up. They see values rising. It gets them more interested. And all of that cycle of more assets, more value, more investors taking notice, more investors having confidence that value is going to continue to increase, then it just starts to build upon itself, and it helps so much. The birth of these networks and these network effects, it's quite powerful. And I think one of the biggest things that needs to be created is the confidence among enough participants that NFTs and this building market, that it's viable, that it's going to grow, and it's going to grow steadily, and it's going to flourish, and that this value that's being created, it's going to build, and then we're going to see incremental discretionary funds flow into that space. And we're seeing it happen, and I think it's going to be big in its own right. I don't know specific notional volumes and notional values, but there's going to be some big winners in this space where their value is going to be multiples higher in years than what it is right now.
I could not agree more. Well, on that note, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on to this week's Crypto and Blockchain Talk.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in this week to Crypto and Blockchain Talk. Please do not forget to tell your friends and family about our podcast. And for the full list of podcasting platforms where your friends and family can download this podcast too, you can get the full list on cryptoandblockchaintalk.com. And the list starts with iTunes, Podbeam, Stitcher, Spotify, goes all the way to Acast, SoundCloud, and many, many more. In addition, you can also listen to these podcasts on Crypto24Radio.com, which plays not only these lovely podcasts, but news and music 24/7 around the world. On top of that, we love to hear from you directly. And of course, you can contact us through our normal social media channels of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But more importantly, we love to hear from you directly. So please email us at education@savvydigital. That's education@savvy, SAVII digital.com. Again, thank you for tuning into this podcast. We know that you have many choices to listen to, and the fact that you tune into us means a great deal. So thank you again, and remember to keep safe, be well, and goodbye.